pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Call the meeting to order. Our first item is bid results. The first is contract 2003-05 for the diatomaceous earth. I believe we have two companies that bid on this. Slack Chemical Company from Carthage, New York, and Aftech from Rochester, New York. And it looks like Aftech Incorporated came in lower at $14,000 for bid item 1, $14,428.80, and bid number 2 for $14,256. Accept the motion to accept these?
I'd just like to make a recommendation on the Aftech. The difference between one delivery versus two is a little less than $200, and because of storage, I'd just like to recommend for your consideration going with bid item number 2, where it's a split delivery.
Okay. Bid item number 2. Okay. Still from Aftech? Okay.
I'd like to make a motion then to accept the bid number 2 from Aftech.
I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? No further discussion. All those in favor, vote by the sign of aye.
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 Those opposed?
Need roll call?
You need a roll call.
Roll call. Sorry. Roll call vote. Trustee Huckrow?
Aye.
Trustee Penfield?
Aye.
Trustee Jefferson?
Aye.
And the deputy mayor votes aye. And we have bid results for, I believe, just contract number 2 at this point in time for the comprehensive water systems improvement. John?
Yeah, basically, I assume that the village board has our letter dated, has an opportunity to review our letter dated May 30th of this year. Basically, I'll quickly summarize that for you. The contract, of course, was advertised in the paper back in April. We conducted a pre-bid conference at the work site on May 8th. We sent out one addendum via certified mail to all the bidders on some minor changes and clarifications in the plans and specifications. On May 25th, or May 28th, excuse me, bids were received in this office at 5:00 p.m. There's quite a few people that attended. 8 bidders submitted bids on contract number 2. Bids were also received on contracts 3, 4, and 5. We have gone through the bids closely, have been in contact with the low bidder on contract number 2, which is a relatively straightforward unit price item contract. He has stated he's comfortable with his bid. He's checked his bid over. He is more than willing to do the work at the stated price. Price stated in his bid. Contracts 3, 4, and 5 are a little more involved and take a little more checking. They're also involve a number of alternates, which we have discussed with the water plant personnel, and there are some things that we wanted to check on the existing tank. I've met with representatives of the village, and those an investigation of certain little conditions at the existing tank is scheduled for the next 2 weeks. Consequently, it's our recommendation, since how the contractors have not really had an opportunity to go through their bids closely on those contracts 3, 4, and 5, and there's some other questions that need to be answered at the existing tank, that those other contracts, the village, we're recommending delay their decision on. However, contract number 2, that's basically the pipeline that heads from the village office, the water treatment plant, up to the water storage tank appears to be much more clear cut. The decision on it appears to be pretty clear. You have a low bidder, a responsible low bidder, and we see no reason that contract should not be awarded to that bidder. There is one alternate in there for overlay of pavement, and we recommend that a decision on that be delayed for a couple of weeks. However, on the base bid, which is essentially the pipe work and patching of the pavement disturbed during the work, that appears to be appropriate for you to consider award. We've also checked their bid as far as how it compares to our original budget, which was compiled about a year and a half ago, I guess, and they're well within the budget for the work. Consequently, that's our recommendation that the village board consider award to the lowest bidder, which happens to be Luck Brothers. In review of all the numbers submitted with the bid, there was a couple of real minor omissions or errors, but none in Luck Brothers, mainly on the last bidder. I guess there was a couple of question marks about how he bid certain items, but those were clarified through our office. Any questions?
At this time, we're going to award contract 2 and hold off on 3, 4, and 5 at this time.
And I'll move that we accept the base bid on the contract number 2, transmission distribution mains, the comprehensive water system improvement project to Luck Brothers. Should we include the amount in that?
You can, yeah.
$477,439.
I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? Any roll call vote? Trustee Huckrow?
Aye.
Trustee Penfield?
Aye.
Trustee Jefferson?
Aye.
And Deputy Mayor votes aye. Next item is comments from the public. Anyone wishing to address the board at this time? If not, you'll have a chance at the end of the meeting. Minutes of the previous meetings. Regular meeting of May 19th, 2003, and the regular meeting of May 30th, 2003. Are there any additions or deletions on this?
Make a motion that we accept the minutes as written.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor, vote by the usual sign of aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Bills?
We don't have any additions or deletions. We have a small list because we have
Small,
Fridays.
Move that we pay the bills.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor, vote by the sign of aye.
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 Opposed? Carried. Correspondence.
The only correspondence we have tonight is a letter from Jean LeBombard regarding a waiver of open container law. She said she had spoken with Michael Bryan, and they plan a family event at the rec center on July 19th, and although they will not be serving alcoholic beverages, they basically state that if any of their invited guests were to bring their own alcoholic beverages, they are asking that the open container law be waived for that day, and they express their appreciation for allowing for the use of the facility.
We've done that before.
Oh, yeah.
Make a
Yeah.
motion.
I'll make a motion that we grant him the waiver.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor, vote by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Reports of mayor and trustees. Only one thing I have this evening. We've been getting some complaints, I guess, around the village along Maple Street about the dust and everything else. I just want to say that the village is we're still working on the road, we're still digging it up, so you're gonna get a fair amount of dust. I just wanna say, you know, try to be patient with us. We're going to, you know, correct the problem as quick as we can. You know, we're still digging electrical lines and everything else through there. So I mean, I know there's stuff that we can put down to stop the dust, but with our digging, it would be kind of a waste. We would just be throwing money away to put it down at this time while we're still digging. So hopefully the village residents will just be patient with us and we can just keep moving forward with this. I also want to invite any of the village residents. Our village engineer has made a sketch of what the pavement's going to be and what the grass is going to look like. And I'd like to invite anyone at the beginning of our next meeting. Doug's going to bring a sketch in, and I'd like to, if anybody's got any ideas, the camera will be here, we'll get some shots of it. If you have any ideas that after that you would like to, you know, call the village or whatever, we would just like to get as much input on this street as we can. You know, I mean, we're a board of 5 and, you know, we make the best decisions that we can, but, you know, this is, you know, your road and we'd like to get as much input as we can. You know, we're only going to do this once and we want to do it right. And that's all I have for this evening.
The big thing I see about Maple Street is, again, people are going 30, 40 miles an hour. I mean, it's not a speedway, so stay off it if you can, if you don't need to go on it, but reduce your speed down, that's a big thing. That's what's putting the dust up, you know.
And I mean, they have to realize that we are still digging, we're putting electrical lines down.
We should probably also mention too that in the near future, the sidewalks on the east side of the street will be affected by the bearing of the telephone lines.
Right.
So that's something else that people will have to be watching out for as well.
Over the summer, we're gonna have to try to avoid Maple Street as much as we can to try to get this project completed. So, like I said, if anybody's got any comments, next meeting, we're gonna have a sketch of the whole Maple Street, whether you want tar in front of your place or grass, or, you know, we'd like the input. That's all I have. Trustee Huckrow.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. 2 items only tonight. How that happened. Update on the water tank, Doug? Or John?
You have anything to say, or you kind of said it already?
Yeah, basically, as far as the water tank construction itself, it's on schedule. Eric from Doug's office has been keeping track of things out there. Contractor should be back within the next 3 weeks or so to begin raising the tank.
So they have pushed it back, because originally it was what, June 10th?
Yeah, I think maybe there was a little miscommunication, but we're pushing the contractor to get back here as fast as he can. I know they've been held up a little bit by bad weather and the wet weather on a couple other projects, so it's pushed them back a little bit. Their contract requires them to be done by Labor Day, and they have all kinds of time to do that, but we've asked them to re-examine their schedule and get back here as soon as they can.
Anything else? Thank you. The other item I have tonight is an update on the 4th of July celebration. We are just about there at this point. The 4th of July celebration will open on the 4th of July at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, that's Friday. And that evening we'll have a combined concert from the community singers and the Straw Hatters. And there'll be live music, flashback, at the picnic shelter over here. And then on Saturday, we have a variety of events, including a brand new thing this year. We're looking for participants in our first annual craft show. We do have a good variety of people that are presenting, but we'd like a lot more participants in that. We have some young people activities all day Saturday, starting in the morning with games. In the afternoon, we've got a couple of shows inside, one an illusionist and the other a kind of a country honky-tonk show by Mrs. Hogan and her Hillbillies. And later on that afternoon, some live music at the picnic shelter, and that evening, the band South Junction will be playing at the gazebo. And on Sunday, we'll start out with the car show. This was the, I think, fourth year? Yes, fourth year of the car show. And we'll continue our craft show that day. And Fireman will be sponsoring a chicken barbecue. And in the evening, we have a gigantic parade that Brian, I'm sure, will update you in a few minutes on, and fireworks. Just like to say, we tried something different this year, and that is to get sponsors for some of the events. And we do have a good list of sponsors. Champlain Plastics is sponsoring Flashback, which is the band performing on Friday night. Delagar Products are sponsoring Tyler Roberto, the Illusionist. Parker Chevrolet is sponsoring Mrs. Hogan and her Hillbillies. PowerTex is sponsoring South Junction Band. American Legion Post 912 is sponsoring Glengarry Pipes Band. And Wyeth Pharmaceuticals is sponsoring the fireworks this year. So we've really got a lot of participation from our community, and I really do appreciate that. And I'm sure, Sam, the two folks will be doing whatever you can to help us out on the celebration. Any questions?
Sounds good.
That's all, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Trustee Humphrey. Trustee Penfield.
The first item I have this evening are the results of the quotes for the roof repair at the library that we discussed a couple of meetings ago. I believe you all have a copy of a memo that was put together at the office by Carol. It looks like we contacted 5 different concerns looking for quotes, one of which came in with a dollar figure. A couple of others either didn't show or wanted to come and inspect only if they were given a fee and so on, and then another person who would like to give a quote but did not do so at this time. The one that we do have is from Lake Champlain Roofing for $1,325 to do all of the repairs to the roof. I think this is a pretty good dollar amount. We certainly have well within our budget the amount of money we would need for this. So I think that we should go ahead and accept this quote and contact them and have them come and do the work. So I'll make a motion that we do accept the quote of $1,325 from Lake Champlain Roofing.
And I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor, vote by the usual sign of aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried.
The second item I have this evening has to do with the new fees for building permits that we talked about again over the last couple of meetings. Carol did some research, and I guess there was a misunderstanding as to how this was all going to come about. We don't have to do this by resolution, but we do need to have a public hearing in order to change the permit fees. So we talked about doing this first, and in as much as we're still waiting on Tom Renee to give us the local law and the planning board, we're going to hold on the zoning fees because the two of them will go together. So that will probably be coming up sometime, I would guess, hopefully next month, maybe the first meeting in July. So I'd like to make a motion that we authorize the clerk to publicize a legal notice for a public hearing amending the building construction fee schedule. The public hearing will be held before our next meeting on the 16th of June here at Halsted Hall at 7 p.m. And again, it will be regarding amending the fee schedule for inspections and fees related to building construction as outlined in Chapter 72 of the Fire Prevention and Building Construction Code of the Village. A copy of the amended fee schedule is available for review at the village office during normal working hours. So I'll make a motion that we authorize the clerk to go ahead and publish that.
And I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor, vote by the usual sign of aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
And the last item that I had on the agenda tonight, it concerns a letter having to do with the Zachary property at 134 Lake Street. And apparently, since Mr. Tatro, our code enforcement officer, wrote a letter to this board, there has been some movement on this property. So I think we're going to hold off on this for tonight and wait and see what transpires. And that's all I have this evening.
Thank you, Trustee Penfield. Trustee Jefferson.
Doug?
How about John?
Or how about Mr. Carr, since he hasn't been here in a while?
sewer project's progressing along pretty smoothly. Obviously, we're trying to finalize out the second contract, Luck Brothers on Maple Street. Their work is pretty well completed there. The village engineer, myself, and the mayor met with the DEC attorney last Friday afternoon. Had a rather productive meeting, and we anticipate that the biggest roadblock in the whole, holding up the whole sewer project may be behind us, in that the DEC has worked out a tentative strategy to allow the village to construct the new sewage outfall down across the DEC lands. We haven't got anything back in writing as of yet, but anticipate that sometime this week probably. So it's looking pretty favorable. Once we have that approval or permission, as the case may be, we can then proceed with the remaining work. That's the biggest roadblock in the whole project, and it looks as though might be resolved here right shortly. So things are looking along pretty good, and it looks as though maybe the month of June might be a little more productive than some of our other time on the project, just because of that issue.
Good news. I just have a couple of things to talk about tonight. We had a good meeting tonight on the 4th of July. We're getting real close on the 4th of July. I was thinking about it today, and we're less than 5 weeks away from the parade, so I'm getting a little bit nervous, but we need more parade floats and entries and marchers. I talked to quite a few people at the St. Mary's Bazaar. I passed out a bunch of flyers. Usually the same people come every year. We're looking to expand it a little bit more and try to get some more floats and some more entries. We're also going to need some more workers to help with the parade lineup this year. The parade, again, will start on Academy Street. Some of the units will be at the elementary school, the bands and the fire trucks will be lined up on Academy Street, and we're going to use the western edge of Eris parking lot to put the bands in there. And we'll come out where the new water tower is, and we'll go south to Champlain Street, and then east on Champlain Street to Racine's Mobile, and then we'll go north on Lake Street, and we'll end the parade here at the Civic Center. Also, just would like to remind people, as we get closer to the parade, there's hopefully going to be a lot more people coming to the village this year, because we've expanded our publicity and we have a grand marshal this year, and we're hoping to get a little bit more press. So, please consider about doing all your lawn work and all your painting. If you're going to do some painting, do it before the 4th of July so the village looks really sparkly, and put out all your flowers so that the people come to the village, they see that we're trying to be progressive and just trying to make it a better place. And that's all I have to report tonight.
Thank you, Trustee Jefferson. Phil?
I have just a couple quick things. I've been reviewing the village's confined space training, or lack of. We haven't had it. It's been about 3 years, and we've been advised by our workers' compensation carrier that this should be repeated. Bruce Gray, who is formerly employed at Wyeth, has given us a quote for the training. I'll be discussing it with the village engineer in probably a little more detail, along with the mayor, but I just wanted to let you folks know that that is in the works, and that hopefully will be done sometime by September, okay? The other item, and I didn't put it on the agenda because it was kind of a late item Friday afternoon. In fact, the agenda had already been done. It was handed to me by the police chief, and it had been discussed with Mayor Rivers, and we got it late. I understand this is the first time this has been done, but apparently there's vehicles that are parked over in the village parking lot on Washington Avenue that have been there for quite some time. Letters were sent to the owners of 3 of these vehicles. The 4th one, no registration information was available. the 3 owners of the vehicles that were contacted were told that their cars were apparently abandoned where they were, their registration number and so forth. And the police cite the vehicle and traffic law, the section that deals with abandoned vehicles, and if they haven't been claimed, we have the right to sell them or dispose of them as salvage. And it is my understanding after talking with Mayor Rivers and Police Chief Craig that they would like these 4 vehicles declared as salvage because we have not been contacted by any of the owners, so we can clear out that parking lot. So whether you guys want to consider this tonight or table this until next meeting is up to you folks, but they'd like to get this done.
Let's do it.
Make a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to give the police authorization to tow these vehicles, get rid of them.
For salvage.
Yes, for salvage.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion?
Just, and we followed the letter of the law in terms of notification.
According to the police chief, we have.
Should be able to go to the VIN and run the vehicle identification number.
We have, that's how we,
Yeah,
how,
they
that's
already
how we
have.
found the names and addresses of the owners. The 4th vehicle, apparently the registration is not to be had on that vehicle, the identification number is gone. So, but that, so in a case like that, according to the law, we can terminate that one as well. We want to consider them all salvage and have someone come and pick them up. Okay.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, vote by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
And that's all I have.
Thanks. Arsen, anything?
I'd like to report that we received a check today in the amount of $47,177.78, which represents our portion of the hydro preference rate refund for the period December 18th, 2001 through April 30th, 2003. That's from the New York Power Authority.
What will that be then, distributed back? Is that how that goes?
I have to check on that to find out what has to be done with this.
That'll offset maybe some of the supplemental power that we kick in there.
It will if we have, you know, refund it back.
If we can, that would be nice to put it towards the substation and take that much off the taxpayer. Is that it?
That's it.
Doug?
Yeah, I just wanted to report that our ongoing efforts with the cataloging of the village infrastructure, that we worked with the village administrator to go ahead and start using the DPW superintendent's office trailer as a base of operations for installing a computer and having the files set up for the permanent records of the water, sewer, power, and storm sewer. And so what'll happen is when we're done, the DPW superintendent will be able to move in there, and whether they're computer literate, hopefully, or good with papers, they'll have both hard copy and a hard drive with that data right on there. And a bonus of our working in there will be that when the sewer project starts, we're going to be right in the thick of it. The sewer line's going to go right through the backyard of that mobile home, so we'll be able to watch everything right from there. And there's not much to see in there right now, but as time goes on, I encourage the trustees to stop in and take a look at what we're doing. Thanks.
Thanks, Doug. John, you have anything else?
Oh, I think I'm pretty well set.
Thanks. I open the meeting to the public. Anyone wishing to address the board?
I'd just like to make one comment, Mr. Mayor, with regard to village engineer, Mr. Ferris. I had the opportunity to go with Doug to the Plattsburgh facilities where I saw firsthand the items that he's describing, and we're kind of a miniature version of obviously the city of Plattsburgh. And I believe the undertaking that we're doing in this respect is going to benefit the village for many years to come. We're going to have a permanent record of all our lines in the village when everything is done. And as long as those are maintained and updated as changes are done by our public works folks, it's going to potentially save a lot of problems in the future, especially with the new infrastructure that's going on. So I'm really encouraging this, and I really appreciate the efforts everyone is doing.
It's a good idea.
Okay, if that's it, make a motion for adjournment.
Second it.
All those in favor, vote by the sign of aye.
Aye.